My name is Christine Walker, 79 years old. This is the story of how I discovered my husband of 53 years faked his own death, stole my life savings, and ran off with his mistress, and how I tracked him down and destroyed both their lives. 3 years ago, my husband David, then 76, told me he was going on a solo fishing trip to Alaska. He'd been an avid fisherman his whole life, so I didn't question it. He kissed me goodbye, said he'd be back in 2 weeks, and drove away. That was the last time I saw him alive, or so I thought. 10 days into his trip, I received a call from Alaska State Police. Mrs. Walker, I'm sorry to inform you that your husband David was in a boating accident. His boat capsized in rough waters. We found the boat, but no body. We're presuming him deceased. I was devastated. 53 years of marriage gone in an instant. David's body was never recovered, which the police said was common in those cold Alaskan waters. I held a memorial service. Friends and family mourned. I cried every day for months. I was a widow at 76, grieving the love of my life. But then strange things started happening. 2 months after David's death, I received a letter from our bank. David had emptied our joint savings account, $340,000, 3 days before his fishing trip. He'd also sold our vacation property in Florida for $280,000, transferred the money to an offshore account, and canceled his life insurance policy. I was confused. Why would David do this right before his trip? Then it hit me. David knew he was going to die in Alaska. He'd planned his disappearance, but that didn't make sense. Why would David fake his death? We were happy. We had a good marriage. We had enough money. What reason could he possibly have? I started investigating. I went through David's computer, his emails, his phone records from before the trip. That's when I discovered the truth that shattered me. David had been having an affair for 5 years with a woman named Rebecca, age 52. They'd met online, had been secretly meeting for years, and had planned to run away together. David's fishing trip to Alaska was his exit strategy. The emails between David and Rebecca were sickening. They discussed how David would fake his death, transfer all our money, and meet Rebecca in Central America, where they'd live off my stolen savings. Rebecca wrote, "I can't wait to start our new life together with all that money. Your wife will never find us." David replied, "Christine is old and trusting. She'll believe I'm dead and never question it. We'll be rich and free." I was numb. My husband of 53 years had faked his death, stolen everything we'd built together, and run off with his mistress. And they thought I was too old and stupid to figure it out. They were wrong. I hired a private investigator who specialized in finding people who disappeared. Within 3 weeks, he found David and Rebecca living in Belize under assumed names in a beachfront villa they'd purchased with my stolen money. I had proof David was alive. Now I needed justice. I contacted the FBI. Faking your death to commit fraud is a federal crime. So is stealing money through deception. The FBI opened an investigation immediately. I also contacted a lawyer and filed for divorce. In our state, adultery and fraud are grounds for immediate divorce with full asset recovery. But I didn't tell David or Rebecca I'd found them. I wanted them to feel safe, comfortable, thinking they'd gotten away with it. 6 months after David's death, federal agents and Belize police raided the villa. David and Rebecca were arrested while having breakfast on their stolen beachfront patio. David's face, when he saw the police, must have been priceless. He thought he was dead. He thought He was free. He thought his old trusting wife would never figure it out. The FBI charged David with the fraud, faking his death, money laundering, and theft. Rebecca was charged as an accomplice. Both were extradited to the United States. At trial, I sat in the courtroom and watched David realize his entire plan had collapsed. The prosecutor presented the emails where David and Rebecca planned the scheme. They showed the financial records of the stolen money. They proved David had staged his death deliberately. David's lawyer tried to claim David had suffered a mental breakdown and wasn't responsible. The judge rejected that immediately. David was convicted on all charges and sentenced to 8 years in federal prison. Rebecca got 5 years as an accomplice. The court ordered David to return every penny of the stolen money, $620,000 total. The vacation property sale, the savings accounts, everything, plus penalties and legal fees. The divorce was granted immediately. I got everything. Our home, all remaining assets, David's pension, his Social Security. David left prison penniless. But the best revenge? David's entire family disowned him. His children won't speak to him. His grandchildren don't know him. All our friends sided with me. David destroyed every relationship he had for a woman who immediately divorced him the moment he went to prison. Rebecca served her 5 years, got out, and wants nothing to do with David. She blames him for ruining her life by involving her in his scheme. I'm 79 years old now. I live in the same house David and I built together, but now it's fully mine. I have my money back. I have my dignity back, and David has nothing. No freedom, no money, no family, no future. David thought an old trusting wife would never figure out his plan. He thought faking his death in Alaska would be the perfect crime. He forgot that his wife might be old, but she's not stupid. I tracked him down, exposed his fraud, got him imprisoned, and took back everything he stole. David is now 5 years into his 8-year sentence. When he gets out at 84, he'll have no money, no family, and no life. Meanwhile, I'm living comfortably on the money he tried to steal, surrounded by friends and family who love me. They say revenge is best served cold. I served it in a Belize prison cell,